In today's video, we are going to create this landing page for an app. We're going to design it with Figma. We're going to generate some images using MidJourney, and then we're going to turn it into a functioning website using Framer. Okay, so first things first, let's head over to Figma, and I'm going to click on the frame down here, and I'm going to choose MacBook Pro 14-inch. I'm going to go layout guide, and we'll give this a 12 column grid. We'll go 64 in the margin, and then in the gutter we'll just do 16. So I don't actually have a logo for this concept, so let's just make one right now. And then we're going to go with this font here. You can download it on the internet somewhere. 24 pixels, one line, and then we'll duplicate this up again. Right, now if we select all of these, we can go up here, we can do edit objects, and then that means we can edit them all at once. And let's do this, we'll click and we'll create an anchor point. Then if we select all of them, let's just nudge these up slightly. We'll do something like this. We'll get these spaced correctly, and then let's grab these top two, and then let's swing these around like that and invert it, and then maybe drag them like this. And then we'll give these an endpoint of round. And then we'll play around with this. This is just the kind of general idea for a simple logo. There is a logo. Now for our navigation, we're gonna do something like this. We're gonna keep it super simple. We'll say Y drift, and then maybe an FAQs as well. Just in the center of the frame, we can center it like that. We'll take one more of these, and then we'll duplicate this out, and then we'll say get app. With this one, let's actually change the font to Inter. And then we'll make this 16, and then we'll go medium. And then we're going to turn this into a button using Shift and A. And then let's go fill. We'll make this white. We'll go stroke. We'll just do this for now. 2 pixels. And then let's just boost the corner radius all the way up. Padding at the side, we'll go 16. And then padding on the top and bottom, we'll do 12. And then let's just select all of these. We'll do Shift, Auto Layout. And then we can double click this here. And then now we've got this kind of responsive header. Okay, so next up, let's take one of these texts again, and then we'll duplicate this down. And we're going to make this 80 pixels big. Let your mind drift. And the whole concept of this is to kind of bring peace and tranquility to your life by this app, which doesn't really exist. It's just a fictional app, but this can offload your mind. So that's the kind of ethos and thinking behind a lot of the language that we'll use here. That being our H1, let's duplicate this down, and then we'll go over here. We'll change that to Inter, which is our body font, and then let's go 20 pixels. We'll align that center, and then we'll get that positioned underneath, and then let's just adjust the line height of this as well. Probably something like that, 32. Now let's head over to MidJourney to generate an AI image for this hero background. We're going to add this prompt here to MidJourney, a photorealistic landscape of a peaceful meadow in late afternoon light. We're going to touch on little details of what should be in the frame, lighting, but then we're also going to talk about how we want it to have realistic detail, soft shadows, and a shallow depth of field. Now MidJourney comes back with these 4 images, which are really nice. I think out of all of them, the one that we'll go with is this one. The hills kind of do this. Now it kind of leads your eyes down into that center sort of point. We're going to click on subtle upscale. And now that it's upscaled, this is what we get, and this works perfectly. So let's copy this image, and we'll head back over to Figma, and then we'll paste this in. We'll resize it down like this, and then we'll get it positioned somewhere like that, and then we'll get it moved to the back of all of our layers like that. So now we have our background image in, which I think works really well, but what doesn't work well is the sort of contrast we're getting with this text sitting on the background. You know, you have a couple of options here. You can make this white, but then you don't really see it. But with it being black, I think it's too harsh. So let's actually try this. We'll go and we'll create a rectangle, and then we'll make that the size of our hero here. Now, if we go to gradient, the top of this, let's choose some kind of almost white. We'll go this like very subtle blue. And then at the bottom, we'll actually copy that. We'll do the same thing. Change the opacity of this to 0. You can start to see it sits on it and it looks a little bit softer. Plays with that contrast a little bit better, and I think that's looking already a lot cleaner. take these elements here and we'll move them up like this on our hero. Now what we can do here, so let's click on our main thing here. You can see the 3 colors that we've used. We've barely used any colors at all. We've used pure black. Let's actually change that to this color here, which is this slight blue. Now with this new contrast, I think that sits a lot better on the background image. We'll go up here to this button, we'll take the fill off of it, and then this button here, we'll make some adjustments to something like this. Now that's looking a lot more clickable. Now basically what this is, it's got a stroke of this, and it's got some drop shadows, and it's got a slight inner shadow on it too. Now our button up here, let's do the same with that. Let's add some secret sauce. And that is looking pretty sweet to me. The whole thinking behind this, you want this button to be less noticeable than this one. You want to draw the user's eye to your main call to action, which is down here. So one way when you're working on design to kind of think about that is if you squint your eyes, what do you see the most in the hero? And if I do that with this, I definitely see this button more than I see this button. So there's no conflict there. Now, if you're following along, you probably have an app already for this. So just paste in what your app will be here. Now, this could just be a phone screenshot, or it could be a full sort of dashboard. It depends what you're building. Now, we're almost done with the hero, but there's 2 more things I want to add to give it that extra little touch. We're going to paste in this PNG cloud. Clouds are cool and it just sits well on our image, and it kind of adds just a little bit more contrast behind our text. So you can see here without and with, without and with. And then what we can do with that as well on the actual site, we could animate it so it drifts across like that. So the second thing I want to do here, so let's click on our background image here. There's a plugin on Figma that I've been using and it's called halftones. Now check this, this works so well. So let's click here on halftones and then just apply it like that. Now this looks pretty harsh, right? But what we're gonna do is we're gonna tone this way down. Now basically what it does is it just adds some subtle texture to it. If we take it off, it looks just kind of like an AI image. If we put it on, all of a sudden it's got a bit of like texture and feel to it. We'll click on our cloud layer and we can actually do the same to that too. So if we apply it, you can see it looks like a lot there, but then let's take the saturation down and then let's give it 10%. See that subtle sort of texture there? You might not even see it on the video, but it's there. It gives it a nice effect, and I think it just kind of elevates the design a little bit. For the next few steps in the sections of the websites, we're going to speed things up a little bit, but I'll kind of explain how I did certain things. Now, I'm going to add in a section like this. Now, this is just kind of a call out. This is your kind of Y drift section. So you can see we've got it up there. If someone clicks on that, it'll scroll them down to this section here. Now this is kind of like a H2. Here we're just mirroring our hero image in the background, and then we have an app screenshot there. Then basically for the next section, if we just duplicate this down, we could take these and then switch the position of these, something like that. So there's another app screenshot, and then we have this other background image in here. We'll add in a frequently asked questions section, and then you can see we've got these kind of boxes here. If you clicked on it, it would expand the box. And then down here, we've got a section that almost mirrors the hero, but we've changed the text, and this is more targeted at getting users to sign up and use it. Followed all the same sort of techniques here with the halftone, but what we're actually going to do is we're going to add a rectangle gradient so it kind of blurs this section into this. And the last thing to add is a footer, and we'll just go with something simple like this. Now the last and final thing to do is turn it into a fully functioning website, and for that we're going to use Framer. So if you check the link in the description, you can sign up to Framer and we can create a free blank project. Now, if we go back here to Figma, we go down here to plugins, we can search for Framer. Then you can paste in your sections from the Figma straight into Framer, and it's going to upload all the images, all the styling. Then it'll just take a little bit of some clicking about to make sure that everything's going to sit responsively in Framer. If you want to watch a full tutorial on the Framer process, I do have a video for that. But that is my full process of designing a landing page in Figma, generating AI images using MidJourney, then bringing it all together into Framer to turn it into a fully responsive functioning website. If this was useful for you guys, please hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this, and I'll catch you guys soon with another video.